Okay. So thank you all for tuning in to listen to my boring talk again. Okay. So uh, I wanted to speak about something which if there is something I regret, if somebody would ask, oh yeah, thank you. If you know, okay. Uh, which I would definitely regret is not learning the importance of a good routine. So let's ask a quick question. How many of you have done night outs, college, like staying up all night doing something?
Mhm.
Everyone? Everyone? Okay. Do you know? Do you know that one night of not sleeping, to recover that, you need to sleep properly, like a half an hour extra for next 15 days to recover your, it's not just the sleep, it is your brain function. It's your brain function that gets impaired. Can you imagine? This is scientifically proven. So unfortunately, we are pushed into these bad habits thinking it's okay. In fact, in my college days, we used to wait for the night. If you slept before 2 a.m. in your hostel, you are like, you're sleeping so early, right? That was in my college days. We used to go to like a snack shack shop at like 12 o'clock midnight and eat an omelette or something crazy. And we would come back. And at that time, we thought it was fun. Now, all my friends who I know of did that, and all my friends, they all ended up with major health issues later on. So what you do today comes back to you 20 years later or 10 years later, right? Like people drink alcohol, right? And my college friends used to market it to me saying, you know, you're already fair. If you drink beer, you look pink. You look even better. Thank God I never did that. I never drank. Like I drank like 3, 4 times in my life. I never liked the taste. I don't know how people drink even today. What is there in the drinking? People drink. You go anywhere, people drink. And then what happens is you sleep late. Why I'm saying this is now I'm like about to launch my final thesis and I'm like finalizing all my scientific data and work for my pre-diabetes research. Maybe in a week or two, I'll be launching it on a big scale, my research program. And I'll be recruiting about 64 people who are pre-diabetic. And I will have 3 months to reverse their diabetes, pre-diabetes. So that's my research goal. But I was collecting all scientific papers. There were three big reasons that that were found to cause major diseases in Ayurveda. One was lack of sleep or no sleep, insomnia. In fact, CIA, they do different, what do you call, experiments, right? They put fluoride in the water, they do all kinds of things, right? They send a drone to your home or they put a camera in your washing machine, whatever they do. But one of their biggest uh, research was on what hurts you the most, lack of food or lack of sleep. Let's see, let's take a poll. So how many of you say what hurts you more, lack of food? So how many say lack of food? Raise your hand. Lack of food, lack of food. Okay. The lack of sleep. Now, how many of you say lack of sleep? Which is worse, food or sleep? Say, I give you the choice that you can eat well but not sleep. But sleep is worse, right? Hmm? Philomena says, right. That's correct. Lack of sleep. But I give you an option to sleep, but you'll have to fast. You can still manage with the fast. Human body, I'll want food even if I sleep. Okay. Okay. But your body is designed to survive 40 days without food. So you can survive without food and water like 12 days, but only water 40 days. So I know that if I don't eat, I will still live until I cross 12 days. I mark on my jail cell 1, 2. But if I don't sleep, I'm done the next day, right? Your whole body feels like you're about to crash, you know. In fact, fasting for 72 hours rejuvenates your body. And it is proven in research. If you do a 72-hour fast, it's really good. But if you don't sleep 72 hours, that's it. You'll become a zombie. Hmm? Why I'm elaborating so much is that the three important reasons for diseases, one was lack of sleep, not enough sleep, watching late night TV, I don't know, whatever show you watch, till about 12, 1 o'clock, and then, oh, next day has started, so we got to sleep for today, right? So, the second biggest cause of disease in research in Ayurveda, second biggest cause of disease, anybody?
Is it just food or
Uh,
diet?
right. No, something which happens due to improper food. Anger. Anger. Anger is one of the biggest reasons. Like, you find people who get angry very quickly. You know what is that a sign of? I know one very old person who used to speak in a very hurtful way all the time. A temple, always like trying to make fun of this, that, very angry all the time. He was detected with cancer. So if you're constantly angry, there is a problem with your gut. So anger is one of the symptoms and cause. So if you are constantly angry, stop watching TV. Throw away your phone for a day. You'll be angry without the phone, but that's still better than angry with the phone. So if you don't know how to process, hmm, so lack of sleep, anger, and uh, of course, food is the incompatible foods, poisons, is a big reason. Okay. So basically, in your daily routine, three things are very important: diet, exercise, sleep. If you don't put this in a cycle, so whenever I used to speak on Bhagavad Gita, I used to always begin with saying, all we are doing in our day is preventing ourselves from getting sick. Because, for example, you wake up, if you don't brush, your mouth will stink. If you don't take shower, your body will not rejuvenate. If you don't eat on time the right food, your body will become weak. Then if you don't sleep on time, then your body will crash. If you don't do these things on right time, say you give like a few days off, it'll take so many days to come back, to turn it back on. Last weekend, we went to a camping trip. It was my first time camping. I was expecting a polar bear or whatever. Thankfully, nothing happened. But my wife told me, don't worry about the austerity. We are doing it for the kids. Kids had a whale of a time. The only thing I could do was my chanting, but I couldn't do my yoga. We were literally cooking on a open fire, right? You can't fry things there. You just have to just fry marshmallows. That's all. So it was a unique experience, but I felt I it took me like a couple of days to get back into routine after I came back. So after the routine, I had developed so many aches and pains because I was sleeping in the back of my car because the tent we bought, like the kids were sleeping very nicely. I didn't want to disturb them. And I was literally wanting to, I thought a van is a safe even if a bear comes. So like I thought of logs or things. But but the van was like, like little bit up at the, so I couldn't sleep that well, but I could see. So in Ayurveda, there is a particular term called dinacharya. Dinacharya means your daily clock. In English, it's called the circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm means you don't ever miss the sun and the moon. Never. They are always on time. They are the clock. It's not that sun comes at the clock. The sun sets the clock. The movement of the sun and the moon sets up the clock. So by design, nature is designed to move as a clock. So that means you are meant to move with that rhythm. When you don't, your body's energy gets imbalanced. Like today's biggest problem, routine problem, what I discuss with most people whom I deal with in the Ayurvedic health issues. Somebody had cancer a few days ago. I was speaking to him. He had two big problems. Heavy dinner. Everybody has this problem today because nobody can eat a good meal in the day. So they eat at night. But is that good? And then I saw a YouTube video by one of my favorite speakers. And the title was, why does every Indian above 35 have a big belly? Why do Indian middle-aged guys have a big belly? Looking at the title, I was shocked. But then I started looking at every Indian. I mean, whichever function I went, I would look at their bellies. People found it strange. But then I realized, oh, yes. The biggest reason for that is the big dinner. The bigger your dinner, the bigger your belly. So you could see by the size of his belly how big a dinner he is regularly having. And your belly builds up. It's not like one night I ate and boom, I have a belly. No. You have to consistently build up your belly by regular bad habits, right? How many of you have heavy dinners? Or those who have dinner heavier compared to lunch? A little bit? Graham, a little bit? Manya, a little bit?
Usually.
But if you see, if you eat lighter, you'll be able to wake up easier. When I was doing my research on diabetes, most, believe it or not, my first Google search was number of people on pre-diabetes in Clark County, Nevada, because I live in Las Vegas. And it said 46% of the population. And the biggest problem is late night eating, heavy carbohydrates, and alcohol at night over a period of 10 years. So usually when you do something consistently over a period of time, your results are very strong. Like you see this, on the other hand, you see these kids in Tibet in the karate school. I don't know if you saw those videos. Those kids they can lift their legs up straight like this and hold them with their hands, hold the toes with their hand. At such a young age, they are made to wrap around a tree and hold there for hours, many days, many weeks, many months, many years. So something that you do consistently over a period of time, just like no matter what, you sleep. Like first thing I do as soon as I wake up, I refresh. And the first thing I do is I chant my 16 rounds. And then I do my 1.5 hours of yoga. Now my situation is such, if I don't do those two, like if I do that, everything else falls in place. Because you have aligned your energy. And you see, the best book ever sold, one of the best top books ever sold was 7 Habits of Successful People, right? Or something like that. That was similar title. Habits. You are defined by your habits. You are defined by your personality. Your personality is built up by your habits. It takes almost 3 weeks minimum to 3 months to cultivate and nurture a habit. Like some people start an exercise, like usually on January 1st of every year, everybody goes to the gym to set their health goals for the year. So gym membership increases on December 31st. And by the end of February, everybody cancels it. Enthusiasm is fine, right? That's why they say to start something, you need enthusiasm. But to maintain something, you need, can anybody say, to maintain something, you need?
Consistency.
Consistency, yeah. But to be consistent, what do you need?
Enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm is for the start. One more thing.
Discipline?
Discipline. Right, discipline. So discipline comes from disciple. Hmm? So disciple, discipline, to learn something. Because to really understand, like somebody keeps a nice cake in front of you, then I explain to you how horrible the cake is for your digestive system. You won't eat it. Although it may be very nice. But suppose you forget it, right? Then you just keep on eating it. right? Like in college days, everybody drinks alcohol and they say, okay, we'll see later, whatever happens, now just enjoy. Right? Everybody who enjoys, they try to, just see the instant benefit, Instagram. Hmm? They don't see long-term benefit, right? So that's the thing. So anyways, so overall, this was my main point. In all my research, what I've realized is when you think about your health, your spiritual life, I'll end with this point. In Yoga Sutras, there is a very beautiful sutra which says, Tata Dirgha Kala Nairantarya Satkara Sevita Drada Bhumi. Who is a successful yogi? Satu Dirgha Kala, one who maintains his discipline and vow for a long time. Satu Dirgha Kala Nairantarya, consistently, long time, consistently. Satkara Sevita, understanding the importance, benefits, details of the methodology of what needs to be done. One who goes into the details and one who does it with great discipline. Drada Bhumi, he becomes fixed and successful in all his activities. This is a very beautiful sutra. So, yeah, try your best to like learn good things, learn importance of good habits, and try to see where you lack. Why am I not sleeping early? What's stopping me? Can't I have a good? The main thing in my research, what I found was if you follow the sun, have a good meal at lunch, have a light dinner, sleep well, have a good exercise. That's it. Your routine is maintained. Mostly, if I summarize. All right. So sorry, I have to go now. I have some other class. I did not realize, but I didn't want to miss this or that. So I'm just kind of. All right. Thank you all so much. Catch you all next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And everyone else, since we have a few minutes, I thought it'd be nice to kind of reflect on the talk just with our group here. Yeah, so I was thinking, like, have any of you had experience with going with a practice for a long time, and how has that worked out for you? And how do you maintain consistency, or what's hard? Just kind of sharing common experiences if you want to talk about that. Yeah, anybody want to start us off?
I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey,
Hey.
so I just moved back to Minnesota from Washington. So I'm getting used to the time zone shift. But then also I started my new job at Mayo, which is really exciting. But also Mayo Clinic is located over an hour away from where I live.
Oh my God.
So I have had to build in some healthy habits very quickly. And no, I don't have longevity on it, but like it's been something that I've mindfully been working on. Like I've been slowly adjusting my sleep schedule so that I'm going to sleep earlier, because I have to catch a commuter bus that leaves at 5:50, so I have to leave the house around like 5:30 to make sure that like I can catch the bus in time, before I'm chasing it to its next stop. And because Mayo is it's a super super fancy place, and like there's restaurants everywhere, but those costs really build up, and this moving thing is not cheap by any
Yeah.
means. And I've definitely hit some road bumps that have caused me to spend a lot more money than what I was planning on. So I've also been mindfully getting in the habit of, like, this week at least, like since now like I've a little bit more settled than last week. Starting to pack like a lunch and like a breakfast and snack to go to work with me.
Oh my God. You're doing this amazingly. Like, wow.
I mean, so far I've successfully caught the bus like over a week now. So
Okay.
that's
That's
good. And it's been a few days, but like and I've also been trying to like make it easier to maintain this routine by being realistic. Like instead of like, I'm going to make a really fancy lunch, it's like, I'm going to grab a tortilla and some lunch meat and cheese and some fruit and just chuck it all into a Tupperware, like, and take it with me.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I've had to do that too as a college kid trying to cook during a busy week.
Yeah.
It's like you find like fast meals that are also nourishing, but finding that balance is hard. So it took me a while. But yeah, I've been experimenting with different recipes too.
Yeah, I'm not experimenting with any new recipes, and like full disclosure, I'm not cooking any super fancy healthy meals right now because my husband did some work on the house and then he had to go back to Washington and he left a lot of the work undone. And so I'm kind of living in the equivalent of a construction zone right now, and the kitchen is not super functional.
Oh my God. Do you like
So
the place or
I
still adjust?
do. I mean, I'm still adjusting. I would like it better if it wasn't a construction zone, but like I keep, kind of being mindful and not trying to live in that and just trying to just kind of reflect on like it's not going to be like this forever. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
get better. And oh, I guess another habit that I'm trying to get into is even though like I've got some pretty long days, trying to mindfully do like at least one simple task, like in terms of like cleaning, unpacking related things, at least one task daily.
Yes, that's amazing. Yeah, moving can be so hard. Like I had to do it for like moving into a new apartment and the first week was just like boxes and like you're so overwhelmed just by the sheer amount of items there are. So it's just like, what do I do? Like
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
it's really hard because like we, are moving houses and this is the first time I've had to move a whole house versus an apartment. And I'm by myself right now because JR is still in Washington, like working on what's soon to be like, I guess, my old house.
Mhm.
Um, and so like it's really hard like doing things like on my own.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to just kind of mindfully also like maintain a little bit of discipline, but also listening to my body when it says that it's time to rest. Like
Yes.
there have been a couple of days where I'm just like, and I'm exhausted. I'm just gonna go to bed early instead of trying to, do things.
Yes. Oh my God. That's so needed.
Yes, the cats really like it here.
Aw, that's sweet. Anyone else trying to get into a habit? Or I think they talked about three things of routine like diet, exercise, and sleep. Um, is what Yogi Nataraj was talking about. So if anybody has any points on that or anything else, feel free to share.
I know at the start of the year, like many people, I made a resolution to have exercise or not have exercise, go and exercise. And I think it worked really well at the beginning of the year, but as life gets more chaotic and busy, as it does as the year goes on, it's been harder to make it consistent. But I did appreciate the fact that with determination and persistence, consistency, um, I made more progress than I would have normally had.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I'd have to,
exercise is definitely hard.
I'd have to say, people make New Year's resolutions all too often. All just for oh well, I make a resolution to do this, that, and that, and the other thing, and I mean it's totally unrealistic. And then before the night's even out, they've broken how many New Year's resolutions? And then so people will ask me, so Graham, what are your New Year's resolutions? I don't make New Year's resolutions. I mean, if I have an issue, it's not like I'm going to do it on a certain date and just make a determination.
Mhm.
I have to say, I've been sober. Sober meaning not drinking alcohol, not necessarily getting totally wasted, but I've been sober for almost 3 years now.
Wow.
It was health issues that kind of put me there, but they said you really should cut down on. You should just eliminate alcohol. It's like, okay.
Yeah. How was that transition going from that stage to like almost a state of discipline that came onto you? Like, how was that?
Well, okay, so every Tuesday I go to this Spanish discussion group in Victoria in Bellevue,
Right.
and when I first started going, they said, "Hey, you want a beer or a margarita to go with your meal?" And no, now I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but they have a drink called horchata, which is the Mexican version is made from rice, but the Spanish version is almonds.
I see. Okay.
And it's essentially an almond milk. But the problem is it's sweetened. And of course, my weakness for gulab jamun. But no, they would ask me, "Hey, you want a beer?" And nope. And then one of the guys, he messed up my order one night, and as a form of compensation, he says, "Here, this is for you." I said, "What's this?" "It's a daiquiri." Uh, okay. And I said, "Yeah, I didn't want to insult the guy. I just said, look, I appreciate it, but I've been off the sauce, since January of 23. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, don't worry about it." So, I get somebody will put a glass of wine, down in front, and I said, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, I feel like when you put that boundary, like people are, even if you want to break it, people will not break it for you because the moment you tell them like, "Hey, I've been doing this," and they're like, "Okay, like you do you," and they'll help you more than you can help yourself, I feel like. Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. Yeah. I guess something that I've been trying to incorporate is also um diet and exercise. Like, I feel like as a vegetarian, it's really hard to think about your diet being like, I need to put more protein or I need to do this and that. So, just planning ahead of time on like what sources I can put and also like not have it take like 5 hours for me to make. Yeah, so I've been trying to think about like easy meals that are also healthy and don't take too much of time, but kind of prioritizing that. Um, and also just exercising in the morning. And I feel like if I start with a small goal, it just becomes much more easier. And it just, even like with reading, I tell myself I'm going to read 1 page a day of something that I want to read. And it just works out because it takes, what, like 10 seconds or maybe a minute. So yeah,
Depending
that's
on the text.
helped me. Sorry?
Depending on the text.
Depending on the text, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like if it's something fiction and like wisdom, it takes me some time because I'm kind of grasping it. So yeah. Yes.
I've gotten into the argument with people about you need meat. No, you don't.
We've talked
Uh,
about this too.
yeah, I mean, there's so many sources of protein: lentils, tofu, um, mean, I don't know. Fish. I mean, again, you're consuming a living. Well, plants are living too, but you're consuming a creature that moves around when you eat fish or lobsters. But I don't know. I'll eat fish, and meat. I can take it or leave it.
Yeah, yeah. It's just kind of like being aware of your actions because I feel like life gets so busy that we don't think about these things like diet, exercise, like sleep, like who cares? Like it's just fine. But when you just take a moment, it's like, okay, I need to get things in order and do it for myself so I can be that version that I want to be too. So, yeah. All right. Anyone else? Oh, yeah, Ethan, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's one thing that I struggle with too. I'll feel like I'm starting to get into routine, like with chanting, for example, or with yoga, it'll like ebb and flow, and then I'll feel like I'm getting into a good routine with it. And then, like for example, I was preparing for like job interviews recently, and then I was like cramming also before the job interview to be prepared. I was like, wait, I don't have time. Like I need to keep studying, and then I was like, wait, there probably was time. And then I feel like since I didn't do the chanting in the morning, like my whole thing was thrown off, and I don't know. And I was curious to join the chat today too, because I feel like discipline's the thing I struggle with most of keeping up like a daily practice like that. So I don't know if anyone has any tips on sticking to it, but it sounds like we're all struggling with it, which I guess is why we're all here.
I think
I joined.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
I was just saying, I think you have the tips because your mic was unmuted. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I joined like a morning meditation call today. I find that sometimes joining a group helps inspire me to be timely and consistent with my meditation practice and my chanting. And the person who was leading the call, he said something, and I think it's so simple, but at the same time, it's something we don't realize. And he said essentially that there is nothing more important than your meditation or your morning chanting. And it was like such a simple statement, but at that moment in time, I was like, when I was chanting, it really did feel like, why is there so much to worry in the world? If I have my sadhana, if I have my meditation, my chanting in place, everything else in the world will continue to happen regardless if I give it attention or not. And there was just so much solace in that statement. So I don't know if that helps you or anybody else, but I found it to be personally helpful.
Thank you.
Definitely. That's so powerful. Something that helps me is trying to dovetail what I want to do with something that I definitely have to do in my routine, like taking a shower or brushing my teeth and putting like activities around it. Like I'm gonna finish this before I eat breakfast, or just kind of putting like accountability for myself before I do a task that I really have to do. So putting that as like a method and it gives me motivation. Also just talking to friends who are in the same boat helps, like, hey, how's your practice going? Or I'm struggling, or today was really good. And just talking about that, I think really helps me too. Yeah.
Something someone had told me was to set the goal, like if it's chanting, for instance, set a goal that you know for sure that you can reach every day instead of it making it some big, huge, feat. And then if you go past that, that's just like a bonus. But knowing that you have something that you can like reach for every single day and kind of like count that as the win, because it's attainable and then it builds from there, which really kind of helped me because I was like, I tend to go in one extreme or the other. And usually I'll like set myself almost like don't set yourself up for failure in a way, because it's like if it doesn't seem like that's a reachable thing with maybe the rest of what's going on in the day to make it more practical, and once you get some wins under your belt and you start to feel it, then it grows from there. And they also told me to really like look at the quality of it, of what I'm doing instead of the quantity, because then it means more and it sits more and it has more of an effect than if I'm just like, I gotta get this checklist off the list. Hurry up and do it, you know? And yeah, I'm working on it as well, but it's always seems to be a work in progress too, because you know, being able to be flexible because life happens, and then definitely still keeping that space for my practice, but also being trying to find the self-compassion and when things do not hit the mark. But yeah, I don't know. I'm working on it too.
I like the self-compassion. That's so important. A quote that I read today was, I noted down, it said, "It's amazing how much you don't get done when you're not doing anything." Basically means that you really don't get anything done when you're not doing. I was thinking like your point, Dana, about like the quality of your practice. Like you can spend 2 hours doing something, but if your heart and mind is not in it, you're really not doing anything. So recognizing that also can help. So I was just thinking about that quote and I found that funny today morning when I read it. Yeah. All right. Any last comments before we wrap up for today? Or I guess one thing that I wanted to say was, if we wanted to, we could put down like one activity or one small thing we wanted to put in our routine as just like a action item. And if you wanted to try that, I think I might. So I just wanted to suggest that if anybody in the group wanted to try that. Yeah, that's all. All right.
One thing, for those of you who are interested in like chanting or like meditation or developing a sadhana around that, on Mondays, I believe 7:30 to 8 or 7:30 to 8:30, there is like a chanting circle that happens. So if you're interested, you can reach out to me or even Manya and we can get you added to that group. I think some of you may already be part of it, but in case you're not and you want to join, it's an open door policy.
Thanks, Ian. That was really helpful. Yeah, and this, oh, Graham, go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Oh no, I just want to say thank you. And probably time constraints, notwithstanding, yeah, sometime I'd be interested. But right now, yeah, just everything that's going on.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for joining today. If you're here in town in Seattle, we do have a Soul Fest coming up this Saturday with an amazing band. So please join. I believe Ethan, you're part of the band. I've seen you in videos.
Sometimes I get recruited. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I am too.
Yeah,
So
actually, if you're free this weekend, we do need a percussionist and backup singer. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, it might be. I will text you.
sounds good.
I think so. I think that I can do that. Yeah.
that's awesome. All right.
See, it's a good thing you mentioned it then.
Yeah, I have made content for our Instagram with a few volunteers, so we see all your videos and we see who
Yeah.
everyone is from those videos. So it's really fun. All right. Thank you everyone for joining. So yes, if you're in town, join us for the Saturday Soul Fest, but otherwise we'll definitely see you in Wisdom Wednesdays next week. We'll have Kula joining us. If maybe he's a chaplain at Stanford. So that would be amazing. All right. Have a
Thank
good
you.